Welcome back to TFR eSports Season 25. Here we are once again for the F2 division here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve for round 5 of the championship. I am your main commentator, CJH, joined by the two-time F1, TFR eSports F1 champion. I was about to say, if you're a real-life F1 champion, then it'd be an honour. Not that it isn't already an honour, but you are in the commentary box. Epic. Once again, joins me. I digged myself a serious hole there. I had to somehow scamper out that one. But here we are with about 7.5 minutes to go of qualifying. How you doing? Are you looking forward to this race tonight?
I'm looking forward to every F2 race. It doesn't matter what track you put them on. It's going to be a great race. I'm looking forward to this whole night. It's race day, hanging out with the boys. One of my favorite days of the week because of it. And yeah, digging yourself in the holes and then talking your way out of it. CJ, if commentary and league racing fails, you got a future in American politics. So there you go.
Exactly.
I'm on my A game today, boys.
So, as we stand in this session so far, it is a ruthless guy who is top of the timing sheets. He's also top of the standings. He won last week in COTA, and at the minute, with a 110.0, he is setting the pace. But it is incredibly tight. As we saw last week in COTA, it's going to be a serious scrap for a pole position here. And at the minute, the two Aston Martins are the big surprise so far. Rock bottom of the constructors' standings, but at the minute they are showing their hand in this qualifying session with a car in third and a car in fifth as it stands. But Danique and Tax Collector are the only drivers not to get a lap in yet. Alfie Nerfboy disqualified himself coming out of the pit lane, apparently brought the pit lane, and we will not see him set a time in this session despite winning the F3 race earlier on. Schaefer is our new driver for tonight. He drops back to F2 after not quite living up to his own expectations in the F1 division. He joins Alpine and will be flying the flag for that team. Elsewhere, we've got Ultimate Stan filling in at the Williams, and other than that, we've got Ollie Bean filling in for Sush Spark in the McLaren. So, Logan, what are the challenges of this circuit? We know there's plenty, the walls are tight, and there's a lot of chicanes, but what do you think is the thing that's going to catch out the drivers tonight?
I think it's going to catch them out is track limits. I know that's an obvious statement, but another thing I think is United by 200s takes provisional pole. Great lap by him in the Mercedes. That's what I like to see. It's a little biased as I am in a Mercedes. Don't want negative 40, boys. Please and thank you. But yeah, the other thing I think is going to possibly catch people out. Now, granted, the race isn't as long as the F1 race, as we have a caution for Sector 3. That's just a car getting out of the way of a flying lap car. Is going to be the rear tires. Obviously, you're not going to have as much tire wear in a shorter race. But it doesn't really matter how you set up the car on this track unless you set it up balls slow. Like, you're going to have to deal with the rears having much more tire wear than the fronts. So the car does feel very different from the end of a stint compared to the beginning. So seeing what kind of setups people got on the car and how they're going to deal with the worn tires is something I think is going to catch people out. Because not only will it slow you down, not taking an optimal line through the quarter, but if you slide the tires in a way and it causes you to go offline, that's another way to accidentally pick up a track limit penalty. So that's why I think a lot of people in the F3 race picked up their penalties later in their stints. It wasn't really because they were just driving too aggressively. It was just because the car was harder to drive consistently.
Absolutely. And we're going to see a lot of laps invalidated, like what Ellis has done here in the RB. And this is going to be a matter of getting in a good lap, but early, Logan, because you don't want to necessarily leave it to the last possible minute and then you've got to somehow pull something out the bag when it is so easy to invalidate your lap time around this particular circuit. Looking at the timings at the minute, we've got Sluskin coming through the final chicane here and coming up to land. We've got the Red Bull just ahead of him of somebody. Actually, I don't quite know who that was. Sluskin does improve, but he remains in 11th. And look at the gaps. Only 6 tenths separates the top 12 as we stand. That was Kevin Cal actually starting a lap. And I don't mind actually if you want to take us through the remainder of this lap, Logan.
I can if I get to him. So you want to hold a full throttle through here. You want to trail brake into this corner, but not slide the rears. Take the curb on the inside. It's all about getting the full throttle as quickly as possible. Don't use too much steering angle so the car doesn't slide the rear end here. DRS, pull a little bit to the right-hand side to cut off some part of the track. You can take a lot of curb here on the inside, but you want to get the full throttle 1/4 gear, but it is sketchy as he invalidates, and we're still going to run you through the rest of the lap. holding it down to this hairpin. It's a very tricky hairpin, and he's going to slow down. But yeah, you basically want to downshift there, not hit the curb on the inside, and find that right line between carrying enough speed to use the width of the track, but at the same time prioritizing straighten the car out as quickly as possible and getting to full throttle as quickly as possible, possibly even a downshift, because while that is slower to downshift, getting onto the throttle allows you to get to the overtake mode quicker, which actually gains you more time down the straight. Final chicane, you can mount a lot of curb on the first part of the chicane, but because the corner itself is tighter, so because of that, you can kind of put your car over more of the curb without, as Northy disqualifies himself for blocking the pit lane.
That's 2 now. Oh, yeah, and Kerbal at the wall. Oh, sorry to talk over there. He's absolutely smashed the barrier at the final corner. He was on a good lap. He was 2 tenths up. He could have been in the mix for pole, but he absolutely clatters the barrier. It takes an interesting line into turn 2 there. And, well, that is his qualifying probably done, because it's only 2 minutes to go. He's not going to get that car fixed. And a Ruthless Guy is not on a flyer anymore. I thought he was on a lap, but he's backed off in the middle sector. I think Schaefer...
He could be on a double out lap because of the minimal fuel being 3.5 laps.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Schaefer as well, I think he's doing the same thing as well. Obviously a Ruthless Guy in that striking new Sauber livery. With a slight change to that there. But we've got the 2 Aston Martins then, 4th and 5th. Harriman starting a final run with a Ruthless Guy right behind him. And GG sets the fastest lap of the quali so far from absolutely nowhere. A 9.8, Logan.
Yeah, 9.8. That's a good lap for F2. I also don't know what kind of setup he's running either, if he has more of a 1-lap setup or a race setup. But yeah, great lap there in F2. That's definitely going to be a tighter gap between F2 and F1 than what we've seen. The last 2 races, what has the gap been? Over a second? But like earlier in the season, the gap was only, 4 to 5 tenths. And we're looking like we're bringing it back here in F2 tonight. Look at Sauber, 1st and 3rd.
Yeah, flying. Absolutely flying.
A lot of people are going to invalidate these last runs as well, so they're going to be sitting pretty here.
And speaking of flying... a Ruthless Guy is 3 tenths up in the middle sector, but he's got a hell of a lot of traffic here. He's got the Aston Martin. I think that's Harberman, who's invalidated right in front. He kind of needs to get out of the way, and I think he does, or his teammate does at least. Look at the cars to the right-hand side there. It is like you're watching a real-life F1 qualifying here, as a Ruthless Guy is going to absolutely chuck it into these final couple of corners, keeps it well clear of the barrier, and there's an Aston Martin swinging across the track in front, but that doesn't matter to a Ruthless Guy, because he takes pole then with a 9.7, almost a tenth clear of his teammate, and Sauber are absolutely dominating this, Logan.
Yeah, they are right now. Schaefer coming down the back stretch to the wall of champion chicane. He's up 2 tenths on his previous best, so he could jump up ahead of United at least if he finds more improvement, maybe even split the Saubers. Great line taken there through the final chicane, but he's low on ERS. It's going to hinder his run down the final stretch, but he's looking good. P2, less than a tenth off of pole. Great lap by him. Great 2nd and 3rd sector. Olderman stands down on his time. He isn't going to improve. Arthur's up by less than a tenth.
Yeah, but he's in traffic.
Teammate Haribo, man. No, it's
a Sauber.
But he got a little bit of a toe there. He got a little bit of a toe. Oh. Sketchy on the throttle coming out of there. Let's see what the 2nd sector time is. Actually, already passed the line. I'm an idiot. Danique is invalidated. Danique in P11. Codematic is coming through the World Champion chicane as well.
Not a bad line from Arthur. Here he comes. Short run up to the line. Where is he going to go? And he's 4th. He's 4th.
Codematic's out of fuel.
Codematic out of fuel. Almost stands in the pits. Danique is invalidated. And that is your qualifying. It's a Ruthless Guy on pole once again. But Schaefer with a last gasp lap there splits the Saubers. With Arthur in 4th, United in 5th, the F3 driver. What a lap that is from him. Haraberman in 6th. And then the rest of the field are on your screen. But that was a close qualifying for a while there, and it still is. Again.
Yeah, it is a close qualifying as CJ mutes his mic for some reason.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, he's back now.
No idea what happened there. But that is it. That is your F2 Canadian GP quali. And, well, how about that from a Ruthless Guy? I mean, I know he leads the championship, Logan, but it was fine margins there that it took to get that pole position.
Yeah, but I think the best thing he did was the fact that he set multiple clean, decent laps. You know, he didn't leave it down to the last run to have to put a valid lap in, so he could afford to push the limits a little bit and end up paying off for him. Great lap by the F2 drivers. We got 5 drivers into the 109s. Pole is a 109.7. Not looking bad at all here, but a tough day for McLaren. They are starting 15th and 10th.
Yeah.
That's not what they've been looking for as a team that has been looking to play the team game and fight for a constructor's title.
Well, they're top of the constructors' standings, yeah. So
But they've done a great job in the races, so they could still move forward.
Absolutely, and obviously they haven't got such spark tonight. They got the F3 driver of Ollie Bean. Yeah, Ollie Bean filling in. So it's damage limitations, I guess. But look at the start to this race. It is indeed rain. I completely forgot about that, to be totally honest. And we're going to have a bit of a frantic start to this race here because, well, this is heavy, heavy wet conditions, Logan, surely.
Yeah, it is very heavy wet. It's wet as the girls in a Ruthless Guy's DMs after hearing me talk about how dominant he is. The girls with daddy issues all up in his DM, seeing the dominance he's put down in F2 lately, but it was only pulled by less than a tenth. Let's see if people set up their car for wet conditions, CJ, or just for race pace in general. I've been noticing as this game has evolved, the difference between a race setup and a quali setup is pretty different. Yeah. So that's something that's been recently evolving, just like the double outlap on shorter tracks. But it's time for the lights!
Here we go then. We've got 5 red lights here in Canada. And we are underway in these soaking conditions here. Schaefer gets a decent start, but not quite a good second phase as he drops behind a Ruthless Guy. A lot of ghosting into the first corner. And there's a little bit of contact there between Schaefer and GG. They're now ghosting once again. We've got a couple of cars going straight on at the first corner there. Ellis picks up a 10-second time penalty for that. I'm not surprised at all. But it's a Sauber. 1-2 and there's contact. Schaefer's straight off. He's gone straight off into the barrier. And I think there was someone else collected in that as well. He's reset to the track. That'll probably be a penalty as well, but you could just be guaranteed that there was going to be that chaos, Logan.
Yeah, there's always chaos at the start in F2 and F3 here, as we got more chaos here on the first lap, and a mix of tires.
Yeah. A real mix of tires. I mean, it's chaos. Absolute chaos there. Cars sliding left, right, and centre. And the position changes already have gone all over the place. We've got Denique there chucking it down the inside on his teammate. And the 2 Red Bulls right behind her wheel to wheel as well. But look at Ultimate Stan. What a start for him in the Williams on the wet tyres. He is really putting the pressure on a Ruthless Guy. And it looks like the wet tyres are the tyre to go with at the minute.
They're the tire to go with at the minute, but it's quickly going to become the Inter tire. The Inter is definitely the correct choice here, CJ. Watch for them in the next couple laps. Everyone's going side by side through the chicane. Ellis already has 13 seconds of penalties and an early sample, the Darky Award.
Here comes Ultimate Stan then to the outside on a Ruthless Guy. He's trying to offset the Sauber. He gets a little bit wide there, and he gets a decent exit. He'll have a right old go into the first corner. Ultimate Stan, what a start this is going to be. He's going to take the lead come the end of the first lap. What a start for him. And those wet tyres absolutely working magic here as Kerbal then picks off Arthur for P4, although Arthur gets a much better exit, retakes the position, and that's Tax Collector right behind him as well. The grid order has been absolutely shaken up here, Logan.
It has, but watch what's going to happen to these wet tire runners. In about 3 more laps time, Denique gets on the grass under braking. It's still chaos, CJ. Side-by-side curveball and Tax Collector.
Oh, and then touch again.
Oh, but they all keep it going in a straight line.
I got another yellow flag.
Sector 1. Oh, we got Ellis. He's around and into the walls. And 17th and 18th for the RBs was just shocking to see as they've been the pinnacle of consistency all season long.
Absolutely. And apart from GG and Northey, every single car has changed position at the start here. So it's Schaefer with the awful start getting involved in that collision earlier on. And there's Denique making the move on Haraman into the hairpin. And Denique then, if he gets a good exit, will pick off the Aston Martin there on those intermediate tyres. But Ultimate Stan then leads the way by almost 1.8 seconds out front, gaining 6 positions at the start. I mean, that's one of the best starts you'll see all season, gaining 6 places in that first lap.
Yeah, great start by him. Schaefer does have wing damage, but he's on the intermediate tire, so he's definitely going to try to hang it out until the dries come. I think these wet runners are going to be in trouble, CJ. They're going to have to make an extra stop or just be slow as hell come the drier-ish, or less wet running, I should say.
But they'll be hoping for a safety car or something to bail them out here. But they need this to just stay how it is as long as possible. Because at the end of the day... Oh, as we got a Mercedes off there, that's Danique, yeah. Cutting across the chicane, and the Aston Martin just piles into the back of him on the exit of the corner there. They make more contact as well, and it looks like Danique's going to hang on. Meanwhile, up the road, I think that was Curable, has got past GG for P3. Another driver on the wet tyres picking off an intermediate runner. These two are still wheel-to-wheel here, and it looks like Arthur is coming back at the Mercedes, going to have the outside line for this next corner. That gets so close with the barrier, but I think Danique's going to hang on here.
He's going to hang on there. RB's Red Bulls are down to 12th and 13th. Code Mac and Kevin Cow, two guys we would expect to race for wins.
Yeah.
Code Mac already won a race. Danique's going down the inside of Harabaman. United's right behind him. He's on the wet tire. I hate to say it, these wet tires runners are going to be in trouble quicker than you think, CJ.
Well, this is the thing, and you should imagine that the crossover won't be too far away, but the track is still absolutely drenched here, and it might not be far off, but there goes Danique getting overtaken again by Harriman. They're wheel-to-wheel into the chicane. This is going to end in tears, surely, here. Danique's going to get very close to the barrier. They somehow both make it through. There's a car in the air! Oh, my word. And Alfie somehow continues on, but that car was almost airborne, Logan.
Yeah, you got pinched up against the wall there, CJ. No visible damage, though. Somehow. Keeps it going straight. Oh, look at them, that 3 wide on the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, and there goes Alfie past United. United getting it all wrong into those first couple of corners there and losing out badly. He's got the Ferrari now at the inside as well. Carabold's up into second place.
They're in the wall! Penzook and United are in the wall! Oh, you can't park there! And here comes Northy gaining a free spot. Possibly two. He is on the correct tire, though. Give Northy some credit. This man's going to be moving more forward as people are crashing. He's on the correct tire.
But up the order, Carabold
and Danique are very close.
So Kerbal now into second place. Another driver on those wet tyres. That's both Salvas being overtaken. There's a little look down the inside from Arthur there on Tats Collector. Tats Collector on the wet tyres, bearing in mind, and Arthur's just going to sweep right past him if he's not careful. So there really is a serious crossover at the moment of drivers getting overtaken on all sorts of different tyres. Hariberman now wheel to wheel with Comatic down the order. But Ulmet Stan out front, up to 6 seconds in the lead with another fastest lap of the race.
Could he possibly have a wet step on the road? Comatic super late on the brakes. Oh, he matches the sausage curve so hard he bursts a calf. All it means a 3-second time penalty. He's the second one to get a track limits time penalty here so far in this race. And the order's just going to keep shuffling as the crossover point is probably about here. United with the 3-second time penalty. Arthur and Tax Collector side by side, CJ, going in the turn number.
Yeah, Arthur all over the tail of Tax Collector. That is a wet tyre runner that is really struggling now at this phase of the race. And Arthur will have a look to the inside. Can't make it into that corner. You're just asking for trouble. But look how Tax Collector gets so wide on the exit of that corner. And Arthur is in a dangerous spot here, trying to go around the outside there. And if he gets the better run, he will take the position here. And that is now P5 for Arthur, recovering very well in this race. And the intermediates are certainly coming back into play. But the two Salvas, Logan, they're not making much inroads here. They're not catching Curbold.
Not yet. Give it 1 or 2 more laps. Also, it could just be the driving. It could be the setup. I do see the Salvers really locking up the brakes. Still, these wet runners are going to have to basically make an extra pit stop, CJ. The question is, when is the track going to start to dry up? Oldham and Stan starting to struggle in his rears. Curbold gives himself a 3-second time penalty. That ain't good for the logistics of his race. There goes
Comatic to the outside underneath. We've got a yellow flag at the very back.
It's Ellis.
Comatic with a snappy little exit there in the car all over the place. And can't quite get the move. He isn't moving, that's right. And he's stuck. Can he move? Yeah. The car is stuck in the track. And it's a red flag. Oh, my word. I mean, that is going to be controversial. If he could get that car moved or not. A red flag, that's completely going to change this race, Logan.
Absolutely. All the wet runners just got bailed out. the wet runners just got handed a huge advantage in this race.
Yeah, if you're a wet tire runner, you'll be delighted to see that. Although we're gonna lose 2 laps here, and the conditions will probably change a little bit as well. So it really might just throw a bit of chaos that some of the others didn't particularly want. You're right, though, Logan. Those that were on wet tyres are going to get an easy change of tyres. But I tell you, a lot of drivers there will be absolutely furious with that one. I mean, you spotted it early, and you were saying that he wasn't moving.
Yeah, he was just in neutral. He wasn't even trying to do anything. He just put the controller down.
So I'm seeing there some of the drivers are saying they're not sure if it's dry or not. I'd be quite shocked if the conditions have changed that much. And it is. It is dry, but we've got a bunch of drivers on the intermediates. I mean, that's unbelievable. Well, here we go then. Once more, we finally get underway again. And it's Ultimate Stan who gets us going. And he is on the intermediates. Look at them. They're absolutely scampering away there, struggling to get going. But Ultimate Stan does maintain the lead. But we've got Alfie then on a set of soft tyres. We've got Harberman, Arthur, and then a couple at the back, all on soft tyres. They're going to gain massively here, but they're all on old softs.
Why are they on old softs? Were they not even given the choice? Idea. Is that a glitch, though? I think they are fresh softs. It could be
I'm not sure it is softs, though.
Oh, everyone's off. Everyone's doing an impression of Vettel in 2019 through turn, I don't know, 5 or something on American. I don't know my turn numbers. Ollie Bean gets a 3-second time penalty. Harberman gets a 3-second time penalty.
I'm not sure it is softs yet, you know. The track looks very, very slippery there as they were going through those corners. And it's definitely... Oh, and they've touched Alfie and Northie there. I don't think it is. I think it's very close to softs. But look at Alfie there under braking, really struggling to get the car slowed down. And is still wheel-to-wheel with Northie here. But absolute chaos at this restart.
Look at the positions Northie's gained. He's up in the P10.
Yeah. Incredible restart from him. And Alfie is tumbling down the order. I tell you, the soft runners, they're really falling off here.
Yeah, they are. I don't think it's time yet. But is it close enough to
They're all in. They're all in the pits. All the top runners are all diving in the pit lane. What on earth is this race at the minute?
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Co-Matic stays out. And someone else. Yeah, Kevin Cowell as well. And Ollie Bean.
That was the time penalty.
Salvers are stacking.
Even with the soft. If anything, go to hards.
The Salvers are stacking, and it's got the Williams stuck in the pit lane. Ultimate Stan, who was our leader, has just lost about 3 positions because he couldn't get out of his pit box because the 2 Salvers were stacking their cars. So Ultimate Stan now is down into 14th. Carbold is the net leader here. However, we've got a bunch of drivers on the soft tyres, but I'm going to guess that they're old softs because it says on my screen that they're 8 laps old.
Arthur's on mediums. That's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how that plays out for him.
DRS enabled.
Safety car.
Yeah. So it must have just been at the absolute transition point there where it was either inters for 1 lap or you get a set of softs on. I mean, the softs anyway, Logan, they're not going to make it to the end. So why on earth were they on the softs?
TJ, you're questioning. You're making my mistake. You're questioning their tire strategy again. Maybe there's an issue in the game where it would have let them go to hard.
Yeah.
You never know.
That's absolutely bizarre. So there's about, 5 drivers there that are all going to be really, really in trouble. The top 3 are in the pits. They're all coming in then. And you question why not at least one of those Red Bulls dived in the pits on the last lap. Northie then is going to take the lead of the race for RB. That tells you all you need to know on how bonkers this race has been so far. Alfie then is now right on his tail, scrapping for the F2 lead with Harberman, one of the other soft tyre runners. So GG is actually now the net leader of those hard tyre runners. I think he's just got himself ahead of Kerbal. There is so much going on here. We're going to miss a battle at some point, so I do apologise, viewers.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at Northie and Alfie. They're going side by side into the corner. They touch.
And he's through. So Alfie now leads the race with Northie behind. We've got a yellow flag. That's Sluskin hitting the barrier, I think, or maybe just having a slight spin. But it looks like the hard tyre runners, they are catching very quickly, though, Logan. So I do wonder if those soft tyre runners, I mean, they'll have to pit, surely.
Yeah, they're going to have to. There's no way.
Look at this. Oh, we got a freeway crash here going into the hairpin. They were touching tyres. They were free wide, and it's United, into the barrier, and free would not go as to be expected. And United then on those soft tyres is now dropping down the order.
Ruthless Skies all the way down in 15th, CJ.
Yeah.
15th. He was pole position. His teammates up the
Incredible.
7th.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy this race. Northey then dives in the pits, and his teammates are about to get passed by GG for P5 then. So that's... GG is on an absolute charge here. He is looking super strong.
One. Most McLarens involved, a Mercedes involved, a Sauber involved.
Look at this.
They're all touching. Oh my god, it's like a backstage after party of a Bill Cosby meet and greet. There's so much touching. Oh, I the guy down the inside touch. Ollie B with another time penalty. We got another caution. I don't know what it's for. I gotta remember to breathe.
There's multiple penalties there, and Ollie Bean locking up both front tyres, going to that corner. There's a terrible exit there for Ellis on those intermediate tyres. He almost hits the barrier, and they're all picking him off left, right, and centre. There's the Sauber getting squeezed against the wall, and the RB also gets squeezed off the track. He goes straight on, and Ellis is beat right down the order. A Ruthless Guy then up into 10th. Got a yellow flag for that RB, obviously, who has now retired on the circuit. So, meanwhile, up the order is up into 4th, and with a decent gap now over Kerbal, but it is this gap further behind with Code Mannequin and Net P3 here, coming under serious pressure from Danique going into the final chicane. Danique has a little look to the inside, thinks better of it, and we'll have to set it up once more as Schaefer's in the pits. Now that answers our question, Logan, about those soft tyres.
Yeah, and so is United as well.
What a crazy race. Yeah.
Oh, it's about to get more crazy. We're not even halfway through yet.
I know. It's just absolutely bonkers so far. And there is a move for second. Yeah. So, and there is GG. So these soft tyre runners seriously struggling now, because there is GG, and there's Kerbal in the background. So he's really bringing himself back up to the Sauber. So he really is back in the mix then for the lead here. And Harriman struggling to get out of that corner. He's going to have GG all over his tail. But there is Kerbal as well.
Ollie Bean! He yeeted it down the inside, and he made contact with somebody.
And Kerbal's ahead of GG into the hairpin with a last gasp dive bomb there. Absolutely catches the Sauber napping. What a race this has been so far. GG's going to come straight back at Kerbal though. This is for the net lead here, remember, because the cars in front will surely have to pit and get rid of those soft tyres. They're staying out for now, but they are going to get seriously in the way here, because GG's going to get another good exit on Kerbal. There's wheel to wheel just in front. The Ferrari's right there in the middle as well. Kerbal's going to chuck it down the inside on the Aston Martin. I mean, what on earth is going on? As GG gets a penalty now.
This is insane.
Jeez.
This is madness.
What's happening?
This is TFR F2, baby. That's what's happening. Penzug's... Oh, wait. It's Northey with fastest lap. Get in there.
As GG swoops on the inside. Oh, dear. And Harriman then gets away with that one. Those soft tyres, I mean, they have to come in. They have to come in, or else they're going to get a puncture sooner rather than later. I mean, there must be.
Safety car.
But those tyres will not last.
Red flag laps? Does it count the red flag laps, or are they really only like 9 laps old? There's no way they're actually
that's the question. I mean, it looked like they started on 7 laps old. There's a car off. That is slow skinning around again. He's hit the barrier as well. But Alfie then continues to lead out front. But now has Kerbal in the net lead, with GG just behind him. How on earth has Kerbal found himself in this position? That is remarkable. And we've got 3 wide just behind as Komatic picks off both Penzug and Haraberman into the chicane, and there's more contact. Komatic's got a penalty. Penzug sped in the pit lane, and he's got a broken front wing.
Yeah, I think he got hit in the butt, and that putted him in, possibly. I don't know, because
they've not changed the wing. Deary me.
Oh.
And hard tyres go on the car, but at the end of the day, the front runners, they will not have to pit again. And I'm speaking about the hard tyre runners. They'll be all good to the finish, you would imagine. And that's Tax Collector there getting picked off by a Ruthless Guy trying to get himself back up the order.
Arthur and Olerman Stan are so close together. Danique gets another 3-second time penalty. I don't think Arthur's tyres are going to make it, CJ.
No.
Maybe with the safety car they will. Yeah, with the safety car they will. I mean, the way this race is going, it wouldn't surprise me if we had 3 of them.
I mean, yeah. I mean, although I will say it looks like we've got a bit of a 2-horse race here for the lead, and the rest of the pack are all scrapping for that final podium spot because Carabold there coming under a bit of pressure again. GG with DRS on the Ferrari man. And just a reminder of the penalties, the top 3 then all on the same, but Komatic and Danique have got quite a few extra penalties, so they are potentially a little bit out of sync at the minute. Alfie continues on 14-lap-old soft tyres, Logan. How about
that? I don't even know anymore. That has to be wrong. There's no way he's taking soft 14 laps.
And Carabold's had a bad exit. Oh, dearie me.
This guy's up to 6, by the way. He's making his way back up through the field.
Yeah. He's storming up the field.
No penalties, and in 7th.
Well, speaking of penalties, Carabold picked up another penalty there, so he's now up to 6 seconds, and so did Schaefer, yeah. So Carabold's struggling. A massive slide then out of that corner. They're both all over Alfie now. Alfie's had a really bad corner there, I think, and has now both of them all over his tail, and this could be an opportunity as well for GG to do what Carabold did to him. And oh my word, Alfie again with a huge snap coming out of that corner. Carabold gets the move done, and Alfie goes straight on. He couldn't get the car slowed down. The top 2 make contact now. So GG will have DRS there down this next straight, and will have a run at Carabold, but they both have DRS.
This is wild, CJ. There's also a train from 10th up to about 6th.
Alfie pits.
Expecting more fighting between them. Alfie finally pits. Yeah.
And look at this for the lead. GG with a great exit there. They've both got DRS once again into the first corner. Carabold's going to hang on right around the outside, but he can't. He can't get the grip with the car there, and he has to settle for second place. You could see him sliding on the entry, and Carabold now is down into second, but Komatic and Danique are both catching these two.
Yeah, but Danique has another 3-second time penalty. You know, Alfie came out in 13th, and he's on fresh mediums. He might be able to make up quite a few positions here, CJ.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Especially if these guys keep fighting and wasting time, he could still possibly get back into this. As Herberman gets a 3-second time penalty. Yeah. This race is going to be decided after the checker flag, just like Circuit of the Americas was last week.
I think so. But GG at the minute.
Arthur's deep into the corner. He doesn't have any penalties yet, but that was definitely a warning. Kevin Cow and Tax Collector being the other 2 guys without penalties. Well, Sluskern doesn't as well, but he's also very far behind at this point.
I mean, if Arthur keeps those tyres alive, he could also be sitting quite nicely towards the end of this race, because he obviously has no penalties. Same with Tax Collector, and the same with Kevin Cal. There'll be ones to keep an eye on here. I mean, Danique, again, here is going to lose out badly because of those penalties. And there is Alfie already making the move then on Northie for P12. So he now moves himself a little bit further up the order as Arthur gets a time penalty. So he clearly wasn't listening.
No. Everyone's going to get time penalties. I haven't even questioned it. I'm just waiting for Kevin Cow and Tax Collector to pop up there as well.
Good Carl.
Caution, that's Luskern. Does he have rear wing damage or something? He's
I do wonder so.
Or possibly overheating the rears with not a race setup. I don't know.
The leaders are coming right up to him here, actually. And, yeah, there he is. He's got going again. He might just give GG a little bit of DRS there, actually, onto this next straight. We'll see, actually, if he was within the detection point. But Carabold is very close.
Tax Collector.
He is, yes.
Tax Collector's been dropped by Ruthless Guy.
So.
Oh, Arthur goes deep again through the hairpin. He's been using that line a lot. It hasn't really worked out for him, though. Kevin Cow's right behind him.
And Kevin Cow might just pick him off.
P6. Now he's not going to be able to.
Yeah, they're all in a little bit of DRS. Strange Sluskern probably frustratingly speeds into the pit lane and retires from the session. That makes our second retirement of this race. It feels like we've had far more than that, considering the race we have had so far. Alfie now in a bit of a battle with Harriman into the final chicane. There, Harriman gets another penalty. That's him now up to 12 seconds. Currently, Penzog taking the Darky Award at the minute with 13. But
he's tied with Ellis.
He is. Yeah, it's a good spot, actually, yeah.
Penalty.
So that's another driver then with another penalty. So he's now up into 9 seconds. Right on the tail, Tax Collector. Tax Collector's fallen off a little bit here. If he can get his pace back going, he's got a great opportunity of some points up the road.
By Alderman Stan, so there goes Arthur.
So Arthur picks off another driver there. Meanwhile, out front, it's getting a little bit close again here. Carbold has just slipped out of DRS though, had a bit of a poor exit at the hairpin there, and GG will be able to get a bit of breathing room, but Danique is closing in on Comatic. Obviously has a lot of penalties, but we know Danique does not muck around when it comes to making those overtakes. Further back, here is this squabble for P6, this queue of cars all behind Tax Collector, and nobody's making a move just yet, Logan.
Not just yet, but maybe further back the field we might see him move. What do we see?
There was a bit of contact, I think, and there is Ultimate Stan hanging around the outside of Arthur. Arthur gets super late on the brakes to maintain that position. He does, though, and Hariberman's crashed.
He's in the pits. No,
and he's in the pits. It is in the pits, thankfully. And I'd imagine that because of all the penalties he's just got. Arthur gets another penalty for good measure. But I think there was somebody, I think a McLaren may have hit the barrier at the final chicane. I think he got away with it. It was either him or it was Schaefer. I think it might be Schaefer potentially. As Northey now gets a penalty as well. They're starting to rack them up. But this is an almighty scrap then for P6 with more cars joining the back of this queue. We're keeping an eye on the front runners as well because Carbold's tailing off here, and Comatic might just smell an opportunity of a P2 here, Logan.
Yeah, he could. Haberman, that's just him leaving the session. We got a couple trains forming, and look, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd all in a DRS train together as well. I mean, Danique's got a lot of time penalties. I haven't quite looked at them yet.
And there goes Danique. Speaking of which, and he'll have the inside line for this next corner, and it's an easy pass. No,
he doesn't have room.
Oh dear!
He pitched over too far to the right.
And he rejoins the track, almost clattering into Comatic there. And those two will be furious with each other because they've both got damage. Comatic then had an opportunity for a P2 finish here, but with damage on that car, damage for Danique as well, a ruthless guy is going to potentially pick up some big positions here.
Yeah, he could. He's up into 5th. His teammates leading the race and pulling a gap slowly but surely. He's looking darn good right now, CJ. This train has kind of come together. Now it's P11 all the way up to P6. Too many trains have formed to create one big centipede of a train. And we'll just have to see what happens there. As Ultimate Stan gets himself another time penalty. Ruthless guy gets past Danique.
Yeah, easy pass as well. It looked like Danique let him go. I wonder if Danique is going to pull this in. Because there's big damage on that front wing. And if he pits, he's going to tumble down the order. He's got a lot of penalties anyway. So it's going to be an unfortunate day again for Danique. Was there anyone to blame for that incident, Logan?
I think it was Danique. He didn't leave a car's width on the outside. I forget who he was side by side with, but I was on board with him.
Oh, and there's another big shunt there. Oh my word, there's a car gone in the pits. It's Schaefer. Collision there with, I think that was Ollie Bean, sorry, yeah, and another car, and it's put Schaefer in the pits for a fresh set of tyres, which he probably did not plan for. So that's 2 more cars out the way for Alfie, recovering down the order. And, well, with the penalties up the road for him, he could still get into the top 8 here at least.
He could, and he has been gaining. He was 5 seconds away from this DRS train. Now he's only 2.2 behind as Tax Collector gets himself a time penalty. Everyone with a time penalty.
It's like Coda all over again.
You get one, everyone and your mother gets one. Oh, it's worse than Coda, I think.
Yeah, well, I think so. Which is bizarre, considering how F3, with no disrespect to F3, but they had less penalties than F2 somehow. So we're not quite sure what's going on. Less chaos, that is for sure. But we've got not too long to go here, and GG is in well and truly control. We've got another car off though. That's Schaefer this time. Hit the barrier. Gets the car going again, but GG starts lap 22 of 25 here, and he is looking unstoppable here, and it could be back-to-back victories for Sauber, and Carbold then just cannot match his pace. A ruthless guy though, he could still pick up a 2nd place here. I mean, commentator's curse. Commentator's curse right there in front of you, because he was looking good for 2nd place. But
there goes Kevin Cow and Ultimate Stan. He made a mistake.
And Danique puts himself up to 15 seconds worth of penalties
Takes
now.
The lead of the Darky Award.
Well, alongside Ollie Bean, obviously, down in P11 there. Also now on 15 seconds. But Danique here is going to be the cork in the bottle. If we didn't need a bigger cork in the bottle for the battle for P6, we've got one even more so now. There is Ultimate Stand with another penalty. He makes it free
side by side.
Now on 15.
Danique and Tax Collector went side by side through the hairpin. Danique got too deep. He's struggling with that damage.
Yeah, he's just trying to bring it home here, but it looks like it's just going to be bare minimum. As Alfie now picks off Ultimate Stand for P9. So Alfie's race is looking quite encouraging here with the amount of penalties that are up the road. He can make the move on Kevin Cowell, and Tax Collector here is really struggling to get past Danique here. Couldn't get it done into the first corner, and he's going to be stuck right behind that Mercedes through this important part of the lap. And look at the cars all queuing behind him. Oh, maybe not.
Tax Collector's got through now with 12 seconds left of time penalties as well. Alfie has now all but caught this group. He's going to be in DRS now of the group ahead.
Dear me, Arthur there, piling into the back of Danique.
Yeah, his tires are... they're going to be dead by the end of this race.
Absolutely. Kevin Cowell really is going to come under pressure from Alfie here, and these guys on the same kind of penalties here. So they've got to try and somehow get through the couple of cars in front of them that have more penalties, but Alfie really senses the opportunity for some good points here. And Kevin Cowell with not a bad exit, but I would have to say Alfie got a much better one. And there is a move for third place up the road. That's Code Manic getting passed by Ruthless Guy easily down the back straight, and that was for the final podium spot. But look at this freeway scrap here going into the final chicane, and Arthur maintains the position then ahead of Code Manic and Alfie. And there is potentially a move again from Danique. Oh, chucks it down the inside, thinks better of it. And I tell you, if I was Tax Collector, I would have been furious at the Mercedes if he'd tried that one.
Yeah, especially with the amount of penalties that he has. Alfie, if he gets by Kevin Cowell, will find himself in P6 and become the checkered flag.
Yeah. So, big points potentially up for grabs for Haas in that constructors' battle early in the season as we are. But this five-way scrap, we're going to have to just depart that ever so slightly because a Ruthless Guy is on a charge here for this second place. I was saying that it looked a bit unlikely now he got that penalty, but scratch that. He's absolutely dropped Manic, and he is hot on the tail of Carabold now, and we'll have DRS in this back straight when we've had an incident. Or is he slowed down maybe? Well, something's happened. He's dropped a lot of positions, and now this is the freeway scrap then for P6. And Alfie then gets ahead of Kevin Cowell, and he's going to get ahead of the Aston Martin if he's not too careful. It's very, very, very close down that straight. I am going to need to keep an eye, though, on a Ruthless Guy into the first corner, having a little go at Carabold, and they have touched.
They touched under braking going into the final corner. There goes Kevin Cowell through.
So Kevin Cowell then up into 7th place, but Alfie obviously up into 6th, so he's going to get that 6th place on track. But look at this battle then on the final lap here for P2. Carabold is hanging on, and as Ultimate Stand gets the fastest lap of the race from nowhere, but Carabold is having a hang on here ahead of a Ruthless Guy. Could he pick up?
Oh, contact! Penzo gets into the back of Danique.
So Danique is off. Can Carabold hang on here for a first podium of the season? It would have been a long old time since he's been on that podium. I think he might hang on to that, but will he hang on to the P2? Because the Ruthless Guy's having a little think about it. There's Manic right behind. Don't rule him out here. It's going to be a freeway scrap into the final corner. I'm going to keep an eye on Gigi as well, because he is not far off from the line. But look at this. Carabold is weaving across the track. Can he keep hold of this position? No. A Ruthless Guy goes past, and Gigi wins the F2 Canadian Grand Prix to make it 5 different winners from 5 races. It's going to be a Sauber 1-2. How on earth they have managed to pull that result out of the bag after that red flag, I do not know. Carabold gets his first podium of the season. Manic in 4th. Tax Collector comes home in 5th with Alfie 6th. Arthur spins across the line in 8th. We got Kevin Cowell 7th. And then a bunch of other finishers just behind. What a bonkers race, Logan. That was chaos.
And on the final lap, Danique has crashed out, and he gave
he's got a puncture.
And the Darky Award.
He's got 2 punches, you know. He's got a front left and a rear left.
He's got one. Now you got two flat tire.
Can he get it
Use
to the
the
line?
shift technique. The shift technique. The shift technique. Downshift, upshift. Downshift, upshift.
He's beast.
He doesn't know the
he
tech.
can't get. He's been disqualified.
Oh, no! -10 for me.
Easy points thrown away once again. And that is your lot then from F2. A word on Sauber, Logan, and particularly GG, who's picked up his first win here in TFR eSports. And how did Sauber pull that off? Because to be honest, they were looking good in qualifying, but had a bit of a rough start to the race. And then after the red flag, I was not expecting them to kind of get that perfect result like they did.
Well, they just kind of stayed out of trouble. That's all it really takes here in F2. Stay out of trouble, be cleaner than everyone else on the penalty sheets, and get absolutely handed good results for free.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sauber 1-2. Maximum amount of points, pretty much, in the constructors.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
5 different. How many times in a row have we had 5 different winners in the first 5 races of the F2 season?
Wow.
I feel like it's like the 3rd season in a row.
I need to check that statistic, but it's happened once again here. It's happened in F3 as well, so we're kind of almost just waiting to see which division is going to have that multiple winner
It's just all
first.
penalties.
There is so many penalties throughout the order.
There has been a repeat winner in F1.
There has been, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously yourself indeed.
Oh, it wasn't me. Wow. Yeah.
But a great result for Sauber. They will absolutely fly up the constructor standings because no other team has really had as good of results so far this season. And yeah, I mean that was kind of domination in that second part of the race from GG, and they had to really work for it though. A Ruthless Guy, in terms of his championship though, and leading the championship, a perfect end to his race because it wasn't looking that good for a while. He was right down the order, but he managed to make those clinical overtakes towards the end. And I think it's safe to say as well, we saw once again there why some other drivers are they're needing to sharpen up their consistency, Logan, because at the end of the day, that was a race of opportunity, and a lot of them missed that opportunity.
I think pretty much all of them did. They all had penalties.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, if I look at the standings now, so you look at his rivals for Ruthless Guy, obviously Tax Collector, he was, what was he about, kind of second half maybe of the top 10, so Spark was missing tonight. Codematic was obviously there or thereabouts, but still finished behind a Ruthless Guy. So really, that was the perfect night for a Ruthless Guy and Sauber. GG, before that race tonight, only had 18 points and was down in 13th. He now obviously will storm up the order with that result.
13th in the in the championship, and he wins.
Yeah,
F2,
it's crazy.
baby.
I know. Nobody would have expected that one tonight. But even Carbold, he's down in 15th and was in the mix for a while in that race. There'll be a lot of controversy and discussion later on about what was going on with the RB. We did also see a bit of issues with that RB car, I believe, at Singapore, where there was a safety car caused by a car stopping. Any initial thoughts on that, Logan? Or are you going to pour cold water on it?
I'm going to wait until I know for sure, but from the way I looked, he didn't even try to move.
Yeah.
It's almost like he just accepted that a safety car or red flag would bring him back into it.
Yeah, do you think that's maybe what's gone on there is he's been like, oh, I've hit the wall and I've just decided not to reverse car. I mean, I know you're initially saying he's beached, but I can't actually see where he could have got beached. Yeah.
He didn't even try to move either, so I couldn't tell if he was beached because he wasn't trying to move. He was just holding it in neutral and not doing anything.
Yeah. So, a bit of a mystery, that one. I think there'll be a lot of drivers that will be annoyed about that, obviously, because it changed the face of that race a lot. Ultimate Stan had a massive lead out front, and what we didn't get is that kind of intermediate tires coming back at them, and then the timing of when you go into soft tires. When that restart happened, it was very much, the right strategy was still to hang it out on those intermediates and then pit for the hard tires. But obviously, you know, with what happened, it kind of shook up the order, and you know, GG made the most of that, and so too the likes of Curbold. But if you look at someone like Ultimate Stan, I mean, that's completely thrown it away for him.
Yeah, in a way, but at the same time, he was out front, and he had an opportunity to start on the correct tire, and he made the wrong choice still. So yeah, there's things you can't control, but that doesn't mean that he didn't make bad decisions, and he also got himself a buttload of penalties. So at the end of the day, he still wouldn't have won the race, even if he was out in front.
Very true, very true. Do you think he was maybe running a wet setup? I do wonder if he had gone for that. He seemed incredibly quick at the start of that race.
I think it was just the tires and other people making mistakes in the intermediates. I saw their own boards that not only were they on intermediates, but they weren't driving particularly great, especially under braking. I noticed a lot of issues.
Yeah, it's something I think it's an interesting thing, that whole debate of those kind of races where it's going from very wet to dry, whether it's worth starting on the intermediates and you just survive it, or if it is worth kind of going on the wets and then you maybe have to suffer when the intermediates come back into play, but at least you get that better start. Because on some tracks, like a Silverstone, for example, where there's not much jeopardy in terms of barriers, you can probably get away with it nice and easy. But as we saw in Canada there, the intermediate runs, they did struggle quite a lot at the beginning of that race.
Yeah, they did, but I'd still think at the end of the day, when you know it's drying up, you just got to save the time by not having to make an extra pit stop. We saw it in the F1 last season at Imola.
Absolutely. Well, that is your lot then for F2 this week. We're going to shoot off now for the F1 division race in Canada. And yeah, another fascinating race then in F2. I'd like to say that was better actually than Austin last week. But next up, we have the Monaco Grand Prix in F2. So if you thought the last couple of races have been chaotic enough, we've got Monaco next up. And you can be absolutely sure that is going to be chaos guaranteed. Thank you, Logan, for commentary tonight. Yep. And we'll be back for that race next time, and we'll see you then.